It's Championship Sunday on NFL Primetime. 4 teams, one mission, to reach the final destination, San Diego. John Elway has made this journey several times. Will the Broncos get him another chance at the elusive Super Bowl ring? Or will the Steelers win themselves a trip out west? The Packers made this journey a year ago. Can they get back to the Super Bowl after a familiar stop with San Francisco? Who moves on? Who heads home? NFL Primetime, next.
Once again, everybody, and welcome to Championship Sunday NFL Primetime. Chris Berman, Tom Jackson, Joe Theismann, a couple of guys that know about Super Bowls, 4 teams that certainly know about championship games. Who would get 2 tickets to paradise, as Eddie Money would sing?
Of course.
Probably still does sing it. I'm sure he does. Well, let's start with the AFC Championship game as the Denver Broncos know their way around the block. 5th championship game in 12 years for Bill Cowher's Pittsburgh Steelers. 3rd title game in 4 years. Well, as we said, both teams understand, and what history to these two as well. 25 years ago, the Immaculate Reception, of course, put Pittsburgh on the playoff map for good. But 11 years to the day, Denver, the Elway era of Denver, put on the map for good when he led the Broncos on the drive at Cleveland, later resulting in the overtime win. 11 years to the day. The difference? Franco Harris, long since retired in the Hall of Fame. John Elway, still weaving his magic.
Let's go out, walk to walk, play Bronco football, we'll come out champs. Broncos on 3. 1, 2, 3. Broncos!
On the first drive, Elway tried to make something happen, but it was the Steelers that made something happen at chilly Three River Stadium at the Confluence. He shall be a Levon Kirkland. Ball intended for Shannon Sharp. Elway and Sharp discuss it. INT to Pittsburgh. However, Norm Johnson only missed 3 all year, but 38 yards, no good. Remember it. Steelers come away empty-handed. Broncos next possession, first play. Terrell Davis, leading rusher again in the AFC. What could make the move? 43-yard run down to the Steeler 29-yard line. He gets great blocking, Joe.
He really does. Now, we're going to spot shadow Mark Schlereth here. You're going to see him come out and get a real good block on Levon Kirkland. As the handoff goes, here he comes out. Slides on out, little bit of push on the outside now. Puts Levon on his back.
Schlereth, one of those that has a Super Bowl ring. He was a young hog with the Skins in 91. Elway to Ed McCaffrey, who had a big-time day, 11 yards down to Steeler 14. 2 plays later, it's TD for Terrell Davis. Boy, he just makes those quick, shifty moves and gets into the end zone. 7-0 Broncos. His 2nd touchdown at Three Rivers this year rushing. No one in the rest of the league had a rushing touchdown at Pittsburgh all year. All right, so here come the Steelers. And on the next possession, here we go. Kordell the Yancey for 20 yards. Then next play, Kordell Stewart says, wait a minute, this is going to be an offensive battle. Let him go. He cut, go all the way. 33-yard. Game tied at 7, and he gets blocking, Joe.
Jason Strelzik, number 70, a little boop, and then all of a sudden, Dermontti Dawson, boof, a big boof. And Kordell's in the end zone.
You go to my sound effects school, I could see.
Yes.
3 plays. Here we go. And then there's a loose football with the score 7-7 late in the first quarter. What's going on? Steed? Perry? Perry recovers for the Steelers. 3 plays later, Kordell Stewart to Yancey Thigpen. 18 yards down to midfield. Same drive, the bus. He had a 100-yard day. Down to the Bronco 31-yard line. Bettis at 105 yards. Same drive, second quarter. Tommy, not a smart play, though. Close call on Alfred Williams.
Well, and it looks a lot worse here in slow motion, but Alfred Williams gets the roughing call right there on Kordell with the late hit.
Next play, Bettis, 6-yard run past Alfred, number 91, down to the 1-yard line. After that, from the 1, you know what's going to happen. Bettis, Lester with the block, touchdown, Steelers lead 14-7. Now, late in the second quarter, with the score 14-10 on a 2nd and 2, a play that changed the entire game. Kordell Stewart waiting, throwing into double coverage, intercepted by Ray Crockett.
Tom certainly took momentum from the Steelers. You see Atwater go up. It looks like he has the ball, but this throw into double coverage results in a turnover. Broncos take over.
Atwater, Crockett, Elway, the only guys left from the 89 Super Bowl team of the Broncos. Could Mike Shanahan and the Broncos take advantage? Well, remember, they start at their own 20 here, under 5 minutes to go. 4 different types of throws by Elway. Rod Smith, 13 yards. Then, 2 plays later, Elway dumps it to kind of ad-libs this play to Howard Andy Griffith for 11 yards. Next play, sees the blitz, so somebody must be open down the middle, and it's Shannon Sharp. 8-fold, 18 yards under the 37. Then, under 2 minutes to go in the half, Elway to Andy Griffith. He bees his way into the end zone. Touchdown, 17-14, the Broncos. And then a big play. Not all the punt returns have to be touchdowns.
Get straight up the football field for as much as you can get to give the offense some position to make a move on the end zone.
Remember, they've scored inside 2 minutes. The Bronco defense held. Darian Gordon made the play. And then Elway to Ed McCaffrey. Looks like he gets in, Joe.
It really does. I mean, did his arm come down? The official thought it did.
Well, 29 seconds on that play. Now 16 seconds left. No problem. Elway to McCaffrey. 1 yard touchdown. 2 touchdowns. Final 2 minutes of the half. 24-14 Broncos. Elway 6 for 6 on those 2 drives. So third quarter. Now the Steelers have to move it. Remember, they came from 14 points down earlier this year to beat Denver on this very field. Stewart to Thigpen, 27 yards. And the entire Bronco team, Gradishar, Rizzo, Swenson, they're all in on the tackle. 4 plays later, Bettis, he's down to the 16-yard line. And it's Carpar. But on 2nd and goal, those Bronco linebackers that wear number 57, they intercept all the time. It's Alan Aldridge, makes the play. So Romo says, not a smart play, Kordell.
Yeah, Bill Romanowski from Connecticut.
Yo, don't bring that up, will you? Stewart, back to pass. Hit by Neil Smith. It's a fumble. Mike Lodish falls on it. Big play by the Denver defense.
Great effort by Neil Smith coming up from the backside, forcing the ball out, and then Lodish, in between a lot of Steelers, manages to come up with the football.
Fourth quarter for the Broncos. Hold on, under 6 minutes to go. But now Kordell Stewart starts to feel it down 10. Swing to Courtney Hawkins, 9 yards. 2nd and 1. Broncos in some prevent defense. It changed the way they rushed here. Tom Blackwell for 3 yards. Then he's going to find Charles Johnson.
Well, you take a look at the plays. You can see the 3-man rush. Watch, only 3 Broncos rushing. It gives Kordell time to scan the football field.
That was Thigpen with the catch, and then here's the throw to Charles Johnson. 14 yards, touchdown. Steelers down 24-21. They still have a chance. Under 2:50 to go. John Elway. Could he protect the lead rather than win a game late? McCaffrey, 6 yards. What a play, Joe.
This should count for something, and it does. He gets his knee, but big catches in this game. Not a lot, but very important ones for McCaffrey.
The knee down that allowed the clock to tick, tick, tick. Then Elway to Sharp on 3rd and 6. What a big play. First down, and Elway. For Denver fans, look at what he says. One more. Kind of like, remember Craig Morton, Otis Armstrong? We need to go just this far. He throws to McCaffrey for a first down. Terrell Davis sealed it with a long run down the left side. Neil Smith said, I'm wearing the right colors for the Steelers. A valiant effort, but alas, a rare home loss. Tough end of a first year of starting for Kordell Stewart, but for Mike Shanahan and company, they're on to the Super Bowl. The Broncos beat the Steelers by the count of 24-21. Offensive stats almost identical, but the turnover battle won by Denver 4-2. And afterwards, John Elway said, Super Bowl, we're back.
As soon as this one was over, it was like I started thinking about the game. And we've got one left to complete our goal. And hopefully we can go in there and hopefully we've saved our best for last.
If anyone deserves to be there, it's John. Well, he's been there a few times, but the next step is trying to get him a ring. And for all of us, this is my 3rd year in the league, and I'm finally going to the Super Bowl. But who's to say this won't be my last? So I think everybody needs to take advantage of it while we can.
There's a degree of risk that's involved when you get in this business. One team finishes on top, and the further you go in it, probably the bigger the hurt. And because the closer you can kind of sense where you want to go.
We had every opportunity today, every opportunity. I didn't play my best game. I think if I could have played or would have played my best game, we would have won this game.
But they did not. It was an exciting game, but this time it was John Elway, not the final 2 minutes of the game. It was John Elway the final 2 minutes of the first half, and that was the dagger right there, Tommy. Plus.
Yeah, it was that offensive line and the defensive line. I thought that the Broncos controlled the line of scrimmage. Offensively, they knew that the Pittsburgh Steelers would come after them. They did an outstanding job of blocking, especially against the Pittsburgh Steelers blitz packages. Offensively, the 139 yards for Terrell Davis speaks for itself, but I also thought that Greg Robinson, the defensive coordinator, has changed his style of play since the middle of the San Francisco game 2 weeks before they ended the regular season. season. He has become very aggressive, and that style affects the play of every single quarterback.
It does, and it did in particular, I think, Kordell Stewart. As a matter of fact, Kordell Stewart, you have nothing to hang your head about. We have to remember, this is the first year that this young man has played quarterback in the National Football League. I thought he did a terrific job. There was inexperience there. He threw both interceptions, 2 of the 3 today, I should say, on second down. 1 on second and goal, 1 on second and 2. Those are mistakes he won't make in the future. I think he's got a tremendous bright future, and I'll say right now, I think Pittsburgh's going to be probably playing for the ring next year again. That's how much I believe in Kordell Stewart. The other thing is, give an awful lot of credit to the Denver Broncos wide receivers. They dropped 11 balls the last time these two teams played. They made a pact. They weren't going to put the ball on the ground, and I really believe that was the difference for Denver.
Yeah. Let's just throw a couple numbers out there. Denver went in and beat Kansas City, who was 8-0 at home. They went in to beat Pittsburgh, who was 8-1 at home. They're the 4th of 108 teams that has started playing on opening weekend when others have byes that have made it to the Super Bowl. 75 Cowboys, 80 Oakland, 85 New England, 92 Buffalo, and now 97 Broncos, the 5 wild-card teams getting to the Super Bowl. And what, as we go inside the numbers, want to know a big reason why? 3 playoff games, 300-yard days for Terrell Davis. 139 yards today, gives him 424 in the playoffs, 2,174 this season in regular and post combined, and it's the 3rd best playoff performance in 1 year by any running back. I think you remember Joe in '82 when John Riggins had 610 yards.
Yep.
He had 4 games. Terrell grew more than 200 behind. Terrell, the 3rd best ever in 1 playoff postseason.
Inside the Numbers is brought to you by Visa, the official card of the NFL. It's everywhere you want to be. www.visa.com.
Well, certainly the NFC game. 2 other teams that know their way around the championship game block. 3 straight years for the defending Super Bowl champion Green Bay Packers. 5th in 8 years for the San Francisco 49ers, who the 2 previous years had been knocked out of the playoffs by the Green Bay Packers. And of course, the great connections. Brett Favre has either won or shared the MVP in the league the last 3 years. Before that, it was Steve Young. Mike Holmgren coaches Brett Favre. He used to coach Steve Young. Steve Mariucci used to work under Holmgren and coach Brett Favre. More connections than during a whole week at O'Hare Airport. Here we go into the soggy stick. 2 teams that know each other, respect each other, want to beat each other. Last game, perhaps for Brent Jones. Question about his cap. Garrison Hearst back after a 6-week layoff. Brett Favre looking to get back to the Super Bowl. Packers hit early, first play, and they went right at Rod Woodson playing with a tough calf muscle, and they passed almost exclusively early on. 18 yards to Robert Brooks, and then Favre looks for Brooks again. This time draws the flag on Rod Woodson, who was laboring a little bit, Tommy. Then later that drive, 3rd and goal at the 1. Gary Plummer kind of bites but gets the paw up and knocks the ball away. So the Niner defense holds at the end, Joe.
Gary Plummer's so lucky here. He bites up on the play action fake. As usual, a terrific job of selling it by Dorsey Levens. But wait a second. Hold it. Where's William Henderson? I better knock this down before it's in the end zone. Wide open. Henderson doesn't get an opportunity, and Brett knows he had one. Inches. Just inches.
Missed it by that much. It results in a field goal. Niners blitz, and after the play, Kevin Green and Favre. Well, first it's Bryant Young. Then, hey, you know what? That's a good play. You got to keep coming. I'll go back at you. Respect, I guess. The guys are hepped up. 2nd quarter. Steve Young had completed his first 10 passes, but number 11 picked off by Eugene Robinson from
Hartford, Connecticut.
And look at him go. Could go all the way. But he doesn't, but it's 58 yards, Tom.
Yeah, what a great veteran play. If you watch Eugene Robinson make this play, he's going to walk that fine line between interference and great coverage. You see him wrap his arm around Brent Jones to get around and make that play.
Of all active players, Robinson has the most interceptions. Favre the slant to Antonio Freeman, and he's a free man after making some nifty moves, Joe, for the touchdown.
Marquez Popes takes a chance. He wants to go for the interception, tries to knock it away, can't pull it out. And what a terrific job of running. Makes Merton Hanks miss. Makes Rod Woodson miss. Oh, no.
He beat the Pope, he beat the Cardinal, he beat the Rabbi on that play, and the Packers are up 10-0. Then Favre to Freeman, breaks through the middle for 30 yards. Then Favre, and this is where he's so dangerous, scrambling, buying time, and inventing plays. Back across the field to Dorsey Levens, who's being sentimental over you. 11-yard play. After a penalty makes it 3rd and 16. Favre in field goal range, and this is called grounding. And you think Mike Holmgren likes the call? You think he does? He's a little upset. What do you mean it's grounding? Are you kidding? Well, we only showed you the short version. So, out of field goal range, but back come the Niners on 3rd and 26. Young to Terrell Owens, 48 yards, 1st and goal. Next play. Young to J.J. Stokes, a tough call ruled out of bounds.
Well, it was certainly one that the 49ers wish they would have gotten. It's a judgment call by the official. You're going to see Stokes make the catch. Williams gets the push right there. Stokes doesn't get a chance to drag that back foot. It's not called a touchdown.
And they only settle for 3. So with the score 10-3, here's the dagger. They worked so hard to get 3, and Favre goes to Freeman and makes the catch despite the pass interference anyway, Joe.
What happens? Marquez Pope gets beat. Very, very poor opportunity. And
it's good. Ryan Longwell, so they worked so hard for 3, but give up 3, and the Packers are back to a 10-point lead at the half, 13-3. 7 touchdowns, 7 field goals last 2 minutes of the half this season. So, 3rd quarter, Niners defense comes out hitting hard, but the ball is ruled down despite the hit by Lee Woodall, Tom.
Yeah, it's certainly a close call. As you take another look here, you're going to see the ball pop out. Well, we don't take another look at it. We go to the next play.
Meanwhile, Garrison Hearst benched Bernardo Harris on the blitz, sacks Young. Favre getting wiped down on the sidelines as the rain was much worse than you could see on the television screen. After Niners punt 3rd and 5, Favre to Brooks for the 1st down. Then Dorsey Levens running for a 1st down. Aaron Taylor says, hey, I'm a lineman. I like this stuff in the mud. Leads to another field goal. Jerry Rice can only wonder how much difference he would make. Answer, a lot. 3rd and 12. Young, Terry Kirby, but Brian Williams stuffs him. 4th and 11. They got to go for it. They're down by 13 with 4 minutes to go. And here's a sack by Keith McKenzie, one of the McKenzie brothers. Take off. And the Packers capitalize. Dorsey Levens on the short field. 5-yard touchdown, 23-3. Levens, first 100-yard rusher against the Niners this season, had a $114. On the ensuing kickoff, this is their best chance to return kicks because every drive started deep. Chuck Levy could go all the way. No rye bread on this return. 95 yards, and it's 23-10. Can you believe in all the championship games that they've had? This is the first touchdown return by a kickoff, onside kick. But Tommy Thompson punted and kicked more like the Wisconsin governor on this day. Packers recover. End of a great career for Brent Jones, who visits with Jerry Rice, while the continuing of a great run by Brett Favre, Frank Winters, and the Green Bay Packers. They go on to beat the 49ers by the count of 23-10. Favre, a very economical 222 yards throwing, but again, no turnovers for the Packers. 3 games in the playoffs against the 49ers. Turnovers 11-1. 2-0 in favor of the Packers today. And after the game, Mike Holmgren returned to very familiar sightings at Candlestick Park and said, well, pretty good to win here.
You know, I have a special affection for this place, and coming in here and having to compete twice in the last couple of years here is special for me. I think you had 2 great football teams battling it out, and we were fortunate enough to get it done today.
We ran our offense regardless of their familiarity with it, and we just made plays. And Robert really set the tempo early. He made some key catches on our first drive, and I just picked up where, you know, we just took turns and we dominated.
It was a heck of a ride. It was a heck of a ride. We fell a little short. Green Bay Packers are a heck of a football team. My hat is off to them, and we wish them the best.
Yeah, it's bitter, but I'll be damned if we're not going to, you know, make that trek again. It's the only reason for playing a game like today, and it happens very quickly, and it's at this moment it's very difficult.
Well, what made it so difficult was that I think 8 times the Niners began drives inside the 15-yard line. Hendrick and the kick team, they did a marvelous job on field position, Mike Holmgren talked about this week. Basically, I think, Joe, the Packers bled the 49ers to death.
They really did, Chris. I think in the beginning what happened is the Packers wanted to come out and get on top early. That's why they threw the ball so early so often. They wanted to get on the scoreboard. You look at the field conditions, you knew this was going to be that kind of a game. All of a sudden, bang, they jump out on top. It goes exactly the way Green Bay wanted it to. But I will say this. We could see San Francisco beating Minnesota in a playoff, winning their division without Jerry Rice. But in a game like this, not having the presence of a great player like him, I I think makes a big difference, and it showed today.
And defensive players love bad weather. You see that bad weather, you know the scoring is going to be down. And certainly, I thought that the run defense of the Green Bay Packers great today. And when I talk with Fritz Shermer, he talks about a healthy Reggie White, a healthy Gilbert Brown, and that's what you saw today. A Gilbert Brown especially who could play every down. And then the decision that Coach Mariucci had to make. Garrison Hearst, he was looking for a burst from him. You could see he was rusty. He started to bounce everything to the outside. When he got that 1,000 yards this season, it was running north-south. So it took him a half of football to make that decision to go to Kirby. And then they did. They ran the ball better, but they only ran for 33 yards all day.
Yeah, and that's not going to win it. Then their 4 losses this year, they get no offensive touchdowns. In their 14 wins, they get 40 offensive touchdowns. So you add it all up, the 2 teams that win, both on the road, Denver and the Green Bay Packers, only the 4th time in 38 years that both road teams have won title games. Wow. Game balls in a moment.